Here to discuss is Paul Fix, an automotive analyst for Car Coach Reports. So Paul, thank you for joining us here today. A lot of smiles in that event, high spirits as well. Seems people are happy about what President Trump is doing. Can you just talk to us about the standards that were set under the Biden administration? Numbers like 50 miles per gallon, 62 miles per gallon were raised during that event. How feasible is that?
It's very, very difficult to hit those numbers, and that's evident by the fact that there are no current vehicles on the market that can get anywhere close to 50 miles per gallon as a regular internal combustion engine or even a diesel vehicle. Some hybrids get really close, but the fact of the matter is that if these companies aren't able to make vehicles that hit the 50 miles per gallon target, then they have to pay billions of dollars in fees as essentially an apology back to the government that they couldn't meet these completely infeasible standards. And so as a move, as we've talked about a couple of times, and you can see that they were talking about in the press conference, the move was, okay, well, if we can't meet the regulations with internal combustion engines, let's try with hybrids, let's try with electric vehicles. And electric vehicles seem to be kind of the catch-all solution to attempt to hit these targets because EVs have a completely different calculation. It's a much longer conversation, but there's a different calculation that's used for electric vehicles that kind of bypasses the need to calculate MPG correctly. And then companies like Tesla, for instance, can sell these electric vehicle tax credits back to companies like Stellantis that aren't meeting those requirements. And then Stellantis doesn't have to build more hybrids and EVs. But then you see other companies like Chevy. Cadillac is an excellent example because their history is with very large luxury vehicles. You have the Escalade, you have some of their sedans, which they're starting to phase out, but they're known for large horsepower, large, heavy, luxurious vehicles. And their solution to that was to start to build electric versions of almost everything that they make, and the sales just aren't there to prove it. So there's this push and pull of these manufacturers trying to meet these infeasible targets and then investing billions and billions of dollars in brand new technology to attempt to get back some of their investment and also meet these regulations. By removing some of these regulations and especially removing the fees that are associated with them, which Trump already did with the big, beautiful bill that passed earlier this year, that allows these manufacturers to be more flexible, and it also potentially could reduce the price of cars that you see on the dealer lot.
So, Paul, with this announcement, with what the Trump administration is doing, rolling back these fuel efficiency standards that were enacted under the Biden administration, how much will it translate to savings at the dealership?
So we currently have estimates that cars increased in price just from these requirements about $1,000 to $3,000. But there's also a lot of other things to take into account as to why your car value, the value of a brand new car is increased, because the cost of a new car on average as of September is $50,000, which is up dramatically from previous years. And while it's fluctuated here and there, and tariffs definitely have something to do with it, access to materials have something to do with it, but also there's a lot of new safety standards that are mandated for cars. There's a lot of new expensive technology when it comes to hybrid integrations, which dramatically increase the price. And then you have safety standards and, as I was mentioning, better crash safety, higher quality materials, the new gigantic screens that are in a lot of different cars. All of this adds to the cost. And if, at least on the side of emissions, which is usually one of the most expensive of these components I've just mentioned, if they're able to roll back some of these requirements to allow the OEMs to develop the technology at their own pace, obviously, everybody wants to make a car that has good MPG. Nobody wants to buy a car that gets 10 MPG. I have a truck that gets 13. It's not fun, but I use it for hauling things, and that makes sense for me. And if I can't buy that car as of 2030 because of these requirements, then it makes no sense for any of these manufacturers to sell them. And then I'm out of a vehicle. Let's say that my vehicle bites the dust. I got to get a new vehicle. well, then I can't buy a new vehicle that meets my requirements. The electric trucks do not do the same things as the current diesel and ICE trucks. It's not there. And so by allowing these OEMs to develop the cars as they need to that meet the requirements of their customers, not the requirements of the government, that means that hopefully some of these costs will come down, and a lot of this R&D that we've seen that's gone into making cars more efficient could actually bear some fruit in a way that doesn't then saddle them with billions of dollars in fees. A great example is Stellantis had to pay $13 billion last year. Oh, I'm sorry. They did have to pay billions of dollars to the government for not meeting their standards. And now hopefully they can take that money that they would pay in fees and invest them back into manufacturing. And you heard all of the different representatives from the big three, which although Stellantis is based out of Belgium now, we still consider them one of the big three. They're all investing billions of dollars here in the US, and that's a much better investment for the American economy. And you can see that the UAW and SEMA and many other groups of people are supporting this move, because all that means that we are going to have better access to cars, more choice when it comes to what we want to buy. And hopefully, like he was saying, jobs are going to come back here. They're going to pull them out of spreading them all away from the U.S. and maybe having a better mix. That all of these things could decrease costs for us as the consumer, because at the end of the day, that's really what this is all about.
Okay, Paul, this is the concern I have, and you tell me if it's a legitimate concern. You said your truck gets 13 mpg, or miles per gallon. Yes. Does this new move incentivize companies to make cars less efficient? Is this going to raise fuel costs in the long term?
That's an excellent question. And there is some over-under here that we have to be careful about, because we're moving into the area of speculation. So when my truck gets bad fuel economy, that means, well, you can't get a truck that gets better fuel economy. I think 17 is about the best I've gotten on the highway. But when you're needing to haul a trailer with a car in it, which, I'm a car guy, it makes sense for me, but there's a lot of other uses for these things. You need a lot of horsepower and a lot of torque, and you need to have that capability to be able to do those things. And if you don't have that capability, then what are you left with? Are you left with hiring an 18-wheeler that increased costs for Americans rather than just buying your own truck and doing your own work? So like I said, there's a lot of over-under. So let's say that MPG does go down because, we don't need to make more efficient cars. I think that would affect the purchase rate of a lot of vehicles, because consumers want to save money at the pump. So they would prefer to buy a car that gets better MPG. And you can see that with a lot of the Japanese car companies, especially Honda, who gets very good fuel economy on a lot of their cars. They actually have some of the best in the industry. So if a lot of these companies start to make cars with lower MPG, I think that they're going to see a dramatic drop in their sales. If they continue on their current track, but without the saddling of all of those additional fees from the government, I think that we could see maybe a slower increase of MPG, and we could even see people driving more, because this is the other factor of it, is that if MPG is better, then people will want to drive more, and that could affect supply and demand from the oil industry. And that could mean more drilling. It could mean a lack of supply, which could mean higher prices. There's a lot of ways that this could go here, but at the end of the day, if the cost of the vehicle can go down and the technology can kind of stay where it is or get better, I think all of this comes out to a net positive.
Well, all right, Paul, really appreciate you talking to us today. Terrific insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.